Welcome back, folks, or people, shall we say. This will be a bonus video. Maybe I didn't cover enough in depth as far as the retrofitting, converting this from a pickup camper to a shed conversion. And I've seen that the amount of views this is getting, and obviously more than friends and family are watching the channel and this series. So, with that said, welcome to the channel. All things on this channel are done in real time. There's no content, shall we say, props. This is not just reviews. This is actually going to be used till the day I die or get hauled off or whatever. Way this country's going, who knows? But I thought maybe more of you would want to see more in depth of what exactly has to take place as far as getting the roof fixed and installing the plywood. So here we go. We're going to try not to impale ourselves on the rebar. So you can see I pulled the siding back so you can get a better view of what's going on up there. So here we go. I've already started drilling the holes for the plywood that will go into the lateral walls. I suppose this could be done on a drill press at whatever intervals you want, but I would recommend that you stay away from the cut line because this is the weakest area in this lateral 2x4, which is where the cuts are. So as you can see, a little more than 1.5 inches from the edge. So this will in effectly just float its whole time, which we would want rather than more than likely binding and cracking on this if it were to be held solidly, like through here for a couple of bolt holes. I don't think we want to take the risk. Let's go to the roof. I'll kind of explain what I was talking about. The siding goes on, and it's put on with some really small staples to hold it in place. And then the roof, which I've already bent back, you see the 90 degree, it goes over the siding, and about every 6 to 8 inches it was held in place by look like roofing nails, really short. And then the roof gutter aesthetic trim piece kind of ties the whole thing into as one. But as I explained, as far as try to keep as much of this thing together, whether you're doing what I'm doing or just repairing your RV, whether it's a travel trailer or pickup camper, and you just want to get done what needs to be done. And this is what you're looking at, but I would recommend that you try to keep things square while you're doing it and as much intact. You can do it this way. You don't have to rip the whole thing apart. You can do it this other way, which, just by averages and how things go, it will take longer, but you won't have a pile of what the hell in your head as far as have I bitten off more than I can chew. One thing I've noticed though, what we didn't see before is it looked like it had a previous ceiling in it that was between this piece and this piece. So we're just going to eliminate that since our 2x4 header plate, sill plate, whatever they call this deal here in construction, this is going to sit on top of it, the new piece. So I don't think we have to worry about that. And speaking of new pieces, if you look at that, the clearest white stuff, that is going to replace this. So here, let me put it towards my finger. That new stuff I just showed you is going to go in place of this. However, that stuff is 3.5 inches long, approximately an inch longer than this. So I cut, actually we both cut, all of us cut the 3/4 plywood sheathing to make up for that difference. And the difference here is just right here at this tip. This is a perfect 4x8 sheet right here. And from here to here, it is just under 16 inches. So when we go to do our final cut, right there, if you can see it, there you go. There, we'll make this 16. And what I've already noticed already, as far as, I think I explained in the last video, maybe other videos, how wood has a mind of itself. The back wall, as I've been, Mickey Mousing around with this, not trying, but successfully converting it into a full shed, meaning it doesn't have the pickup wings anymore to fit into a pickup truck. This area shifted a little bit. It could be a problem, and if it is, as in our case slightly, we will have to use some larger diameter carriage bolts and connect after we put the plywood in, which is going to go all the way to here. Just hold on a second. It's going to go to about here. And you see that a little bit beyond the window opening. We're going to have to yank and pull on it, but we're going to probably do it with 5/16, 3/8 eyelid carriage bolts, what you would use to hold things down in a stationary sense, and we'll just yank on it with the come along to tighten everything up as far as where it needs to be. Because when I put the plywood on in here, all of us put the plywood on here, it's not going to quite be right back there. But with a little bit of we've all seen this little guy before, right? There you go. The come along. We'll just yank the bottom and the top, so there's barely a gap, just enough for some sealant to make up the gap. This piece right here, we're going to keep it 2x2. Although this is not quite 2x2. They were doing different dimensions when this was made. This is closer to 1 3/4. That's, if I've kind of not described things maybe somewhat wackily. Well, things are wacky on this. Like, I think on the last video, I described the wiring as rebar. I should have said Romax, but as my family knows, as you get older, things just kind of get wacky in your mind. You don't realize what you're saying. And now with videos so readily available, playback wise, you can see your errors. But this, you can see it's somewhat still together with the C-clamp, and we still have our platform providing support. And once we get these holes drilled, I just did it, as you can see, while it was up. What I'm using is my Harbor Freight special tool, and we are using, I think the drill bits are, I don't know where they went, but it is kind of important to show them, because we have this, which is a 1/4. Can you see it? Yeah, okay, there you go. That's a 1/4. And maybe we should go back in and look for the other ones that have seemed to be definitely missing in action. So what did we do with them? Oh, we did a woozy. So hold on. Let's go back around. Where did we relocate them? We definitely relocated them from themselves. But let's not think that it's all over, because it's not. Okay, here we go. We're going back over here. Probably when this video is done being made, I will find the bits that are MIA right now, but this is a real tiny drill bit. But it's long, it's like 6 inches. It's a Harbor Freight special. I'd be careful about buying a lot of products at Harbor Freight. A lot of their stuff is a gamble. But on something like this, whether it's a high quality drill bit or, just okay, this thing is so small in diameter, you will break it and probably in the wrong place you want to. So just be gentle with it. And I get this hole going with a small bit on each side centered. Okay? And then once everything seems to be lining up, then we move with this one, because this one will go all the way through. And once you're pretty much close to center, that's when you break out the 1/4 inch drill bit, rather than this 1/8 ish kind of deal. So anyway, now we're going to go back up here. This right here, even though this is not actual 1.5, which would be considered a 2x2, we will affix 2x2s on top of here. And if you can see my finger, instead of this, which is actually 1 3/4, and it will sit on the new piece, which is over there, and we will run our 2x4s this way. So that's how it's going to go down. And with the structure the way it is, we're going to try to keep it as much intact as possible until we have to go back there. I think when I affix the plywood, I'm going to probably leave up to here still on, so it's gives you something to bind on against, although I will take out the staples on the outside so I can remove the ones on the inside fairly easily. Haven't decided yet. This is pretty much close to where it needs to be. If you can see, it's a little off. That's just a matter of pushing it, a little bit of human muscle, and if we need a little help from Mr. or Mrs. or other than come along, we would bring this right up against this 2x4, because that's where it needs to be before we put our 3/4 plywood on. So yeah, I just thought maybe some of you might be interested in actually seeing some of the work being done. Like I said, with the holes, you can decide how you're going to drill these. If you decide to maybe follow my lead as far as using carriage bolts instead of nails or screws. You would never see this in the RV industry, and for all intents and purposes, 3/4 inch plywood. This is what a professional home builder, one that's competent and has got a good conscience, would use on somebody's custom home built if they wanted a super quiet house with 2x4 or 2x6 construction walls. But on an RV, it's just it would be too much weight. Now, let's say some goofy guy or girl or whatever decided to offer me a crazy amount of money when this was done and decided they were going to travel the country on it. Well, first of all, since this is going to be 7.2 inches wide, it's still too wide enough to clear a 8.5 foot trailer wheel well. So notches would have to be cut to clear the wheel wells. But this 3/4 plywood, it's not light at all by any means. Around 70-ish plus pounds. So you start adding up the weight and things get really out of control, especially with this instead of 2x2 construction. The weight of the carriage bolts, everything starts to add up. So let's say you were to put it on a trailer. That way is on the easy side, conservative side. That's 2,000 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing weighs in around 3,000 pounds, bare empty, nothing in it. Which is it doesn't make any sense. Even if you got a full size truck with a big block gas or turbo diesel. But yeah, it just weighs a lot. But if you're new to the channel and this is your first time watching, the reason I'm using real plywood, it costs more than OSB. But if you're not familiar with OSB, also known as chipboard, sponge board, there's a reason it has those derogatory nicknames to it. It's junk. When I was a kid, my family knows how old I am, so that's all I need to say. But the OSB, they used to practically give it away, and now they've convinced those that are responsible for what's okay and okay not to use in construction that it's great, it's fine. You leave this stuff out for a year, it might start to take on the little gray patina look. You leave OSB, chipboard, sponge board out for a year, good luck. It's just going to start decomposing, and then stand on it with the equal weight or intend to break it. This will definitely splinter, and it'll put up a good fight, but your OSB is just garbage, and I'm not going to have that on anything I build, and I've never had. It's always been real plywood. If you're not familiar with plywood came into mainstream during World War II because wood was at a premium as far as quantity, because we were sending men off to war and women and men building stuff to help with the folks over in Europe and to tackle the issue in Asia. And what used to be the main method of building walls on a home or a large building constructed out of wood, they would just take a large piece of wood plank. It was called shiplap construction, and there'd be a lot of waste because that was just what happened. And when plywood came into effect during the war, became more mainstream, it made more sense because you're getting the most out of a log. They just stick it in a big something used at a machine shop on a greater scale. Stick both ends on, turn around with very sharp blades, and sort of like you were slicing a apple or something. The peel it, and that's all that plywood is. So yeah, this area, as you can see, it's gonna take some work. But as I tried to articulate in the last video, this is going to be much easier with the siding off now, because once we get this up and we just temporarily put the siding back on, we'll know exactly where to trim this, and then we can just start making our template to repair that curve section. Fortunately, this stuff right here, you see the stuff that's just stapled the hell together to make the curve, that's all in good condition, those small blocks, so we're not going to mess with that. No need to. And like I mentioned before, as far as the wood paneling for a ceiling, this section is fine. If I notice some crazy old mold or animal growth underneath there, then maybe we'll have a change of heart. But this is just like plywood. It's in 4-foot wide sections and 8 feet long, and we'll just trim it to length because this pickup camper obviously is nowhere near 8 feet in total width without the siding. So yeah, if I remember correctly, it's 86 inches and just under an eighth. So crazy. And here's a better view of the floor. It's stained. It's really nice, actually. There's no way that this needs to be replaced. It's pretty, actually. Looks like a nice varnish was put on it at one time. We already did cut it, by the way. I mentioned the cut. You can see it's been cut. So a good portion of the rot is gone. And this stuff will be on the bottom. So, well, not this particular repurposed piece, but you know, with the price of building materials getting crazy, there's no reason you can't repurpose this piece of wood for something else if you want to build it. Thank you for watching. If you like, please hit the like button, or don't hit the like button and push the not like button. Subscribe if you're more than willing to be entertained and educated as far as what goes down at the ranch. Thank you for watching, people, and maybe this bonus video will help those out other than friends and family if you're trying to endeavor on something like this. But the reason I'm using the 3/4 plywood, I'll make this again a point, this is never going to be used as a recreational vehicle. Never again. It's simply a shed. And the reason for the carriage bolts is, hey, they just provide so much tension strength versus screws or nails. Nails tend to pop loose, period. I mean, pretty simple. So thank you for watching. I'm going to get on and drill some more holes on this one. Then I will work on this back one after you guys are done watching this video. There's a 2x6. Better be careful not to cut myself. Whoa there. Oh, there was the... You see this one right here? I need to drill the holes for that. So, thank you folks for watching. You have a great day, and if this has been influential or uplifting as far as whatever, then so be it, shall we say. But we'll get this thing going one way or another. We do have winter coming up on us soon. So take care, people. Bye.